In the last couple of weeks, I've been literally getting dozens and dozens of DM requests being like, have you seen what Johnny's done recently? Have you seen this latest thing he's done? What do you think about this thing he said? What do you think about this thing Grace and him have done? And I kind of shrugged it off as people over-analyzing a content creator's behavior, trying to find any reason to, demonize them, almost like it's a witch hunt. And then the other day, as I was scrolling along on TikTok, I saw a video comparing him to a very, very famous dictator from like World War II. Dear, oh dear. Suddenly I was like, what on earth is going on? The last time I was talking about Johnny, I was talking about how foolish and silly it was that people were outraged that an alternative person was dating someone that superficially doesn't look alternative. Laughing and joking about that. What's happened since I've last looked at his life? That people are now saying he's this alt-right extremist. And where did this event take place? Twitter, of course. That absolute hell pit. So today, once more, we are diving back into the world of Johnnie Guilbert and looking at why people are so frustrated with him. But before we get into that, hello, my name is Cal, and on this channel we talk about things basically and discuss it as a community, all down in the comments section below, all sharing our thoughts and opinions. Yes, isn't that fun? Wow. So if that sounds like fun for you, please feel free to subscribe. Yahoo! Yeah, and if you're a returning viewer and you're like, hold up, Cal, two things, what's wrong with your voice and why are you in a different location? To answer question one, I am really quite ill. I've got a nasty cold and I've lost my voice. I kind of sound like a poor man's Bane. Oh, Batman, you think you know the darkness, but I was born by it, molded by it. I have no vocal range right now, so my monotone voice is even more confusing to pick up when I'm joking or being satirical. Ha 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 ha. Oh dear. But this also does connect to point two of why am I in a different location? Well, because I've got a cold, I am also freezing and feel very unwell. And when I tried to film this downstairs, I was just getting like frustrated and annoyed with myself. So I was like, I'm actually just going to go back upstairs where I'm warm and comfy. So talking point one around Johnnie Guilbert and why he is currently receiving lots of hate is he is apparently now an age play content creator. Even when I first saw this, I was like, this is so illogical. And basically people's theories for this is because when he's doing content with his partner Grace online, streaming or whatever, sometimes she does baby voice.
Getting stuck in my fingernails and I'm going to hurt somebody.
Oh, baby?
Help me.
And of course, the absolute bedroom-dwelling online psychologists of the internet that actually have no real-life credentials in psychology are like, that's gotta be age play. They're doing this because they're dirty gooners. They like to pretend they're children and they're gooning for each other and they're gooning for the people of the internet. Oh, shut up, you absolute teapot. This is the most shitty, tenuous link. And sorry if I'm a bit more irritable than normal today. I'm just really unwell and I need to put my frustration somewhere. But this type of content on the internet where people are just like, that's age play. You're so foolish. And of course, you have no profile picture on your Twitter bio. This is it all. You are not a credible source. You're not a reliable piece of information. You absolute froob. You teapot. You useless piece of outdated technological equipment. I cast your opinion to the side, and that's why I didn't do a video talking about this a few weeks ago, because I was like, this is so illogical that people are making the link between somebody's voice tone changing, so they must be doing age play. Another clip people will use is where Grace called Johnny Daddy.
Bad daddy! I didn't mean that like that!
And you might be thinking, yeah, that's a bit cringe, it's a bit weird, or whatever. But it doesn't mean they're freaking age players, you froobs. And they also went out and explained this in another video.
I was talking to Johnny when I talked to him in regards to the pets, like he's like their daddy because they're babies. Mercy's a baby. She's like 3 months old and Pluto's 2 years old. So I'm
It was a funny clip.
Like, you love your daddy, right? I don't know. I feel like everyone does that.
I don't think it's that deep.
Context is key, team. But no, they're age players, they're freaks, they're disgusting. If they had like paywalled content where, I don't know, Johnny was dressing up in diapers, and Grace was doing something of a sexual theme with him, yes, then there's age play. Then there's an actual critique you can make about Johnny and Grace, because it's like, well, they've got a mainly young fan base. Why are they doing that sort of content? That's super unethical. That's super weird. Condemn them. Yes, fine. But this shitty, tenuous link of, well, her voice changed slightly, they must be doing age play. Oh my gosh, please, just be a beneficial human to society and stop pretending you know the ins and outs of someone's relationship. Just because somebody's voice tone changes doesn't mean it's something sexual style, okay? It doesn't mean they're doing it for a sexual reason. There's not some sort of weird undertone. People's voice tones change all the time. I'm probably not the best example of this, as I've been told many times in my life. I don't really use voice tone, and it's confusing for people. But regular people, okay, do use voice tone. You can think about anyone. When somebody's angry, their voice tone is like rawr. When somebody's happy, their voice tone is more bouncy, it's higher. And that's what this is to me. Grace is just relaxed around Johnny, so her voice tone is more playful, it's more light, it's more airy. It's like, oh yeah, whatever. To come online and say this is age play is genuinely so nuts and like void of human interaction. And that's what I kind of put this down to. People that are so starved of actual real human interaction, and they just go by what they see online. They're like, this must be age play. No, it's somebody that's clearly relaxed and happy around their partner. And though it's something I personally don't do, and I'm a bit like, oh, it's a bit, it's not really for me, I can acknowledge that. Maybe some would call my feelings towards it a bit like, oh, it's a bit cringe or whatever. I still don't think it needs to be demonized in whatever way whatsoever. And that's what I also feel a lot of this comes down to. If people aren't demonizing it for being age play or whatever, they're like, this is so cringe. It's so fine. You can find something cringe. You can even make the crappy, low-hanging fruit comedy TikToks being like, they're so cringe. They're so cringe. Whatever. I guarantee when you finally find love, you absolute degenerates, you will find yourself being cringe with your soulmate, with your partner, with your life partner. It brings out a side of you which is very playful. You know, this side of you that's almost like you've never been hurt and crushed. It's nice. You finally feel warm and fuzzy inside. A lot of this genuinely feels like people are just trying to find a reason to be angry at Johnny, a reason to cancel him, a reason to hate him. I'm sorry you had to grow up and stop wearing skinny jeans and looking like an early 2000s emo. Johnny had the privilege of being a content creator and never having to be a regular human like us. But just because he doesn't look like many other adults you see online doesn't mean you need to hate him and demonize him and try and say he's something weird and heinous. Again, yes, if he was doing things that are obviously bad, I'd be like, yeah, critique that man. What the hell's up with that? But someone changing their voice tone isn't evidence of age play or even age regression. You bedroom psychologist. It's super annoying when people have read like one article and they're like, actually, I think this is age regression. And it's like, oh, things are so much more complex than that. You want simple answers to complex questions. People are very multi-dimensional. This is not a sign of age regression or age play, which are very different things, by the way. I feel terms just get big on TikTok and people just run with them. Because accusing Johnny of age play when his audience is, typically younger people, is super weird and inappropriate because it's demonizing him out as this sort of like creepy character. And as I've said on videos in the past about Johnny, he's one of the content creators that actually will always come online and always put their hands up if they've done something wrong. He tries to take accountability when he has messed up. But no, the witch hunt must go on. Cringe stuff is just that cringe. We all have attributes to our personality that people may find cringe, whether it's how someone acts around their partner or whatever. But to try and then demonize it and, sexualize it as like something it's clearly not, or there's no evidence of it actually being, says far more about you and probably your overconsumption of porn that's just like degraded your brain so that everything has to be sexual. And though I can't relate to the baby voice thing, I can relate to people taking my interests and trying to make them weird and heinous and creepy when they're not. For example, if I turn around my camera right now, at the end of my bed, I've got a life-size Arcanine from the Pokemon Center. He sits at the end of my bed, and I like him there every night as it brings me comfort. I pretend he's like the livestock guardian of my house. I'm aware it's super cringe. I'm so aware of this. But I like Pokemon. I've always liked Pokemon, and it's always brought me great comfort to just have Pokemon around my house. And now, there's been occasions in my life where I'll be with my friends and they'll have brought their friends to a social event or something. And I don't know, it'll just randomly come up that I love Pokemon or whatever. And some absolute tool, just mega Chad lad, will be like, oh, is it like a sexual thing? And I'm like, no, you clearly watch far too much porn, you freak. Also, my camera's not centered down, I want to fix that now. That is on you if you think it has to be sexual. People can just do things or have interests, and it doesn't need to be inherently sexual. Not everything one does has to be for a sexual reason. And if you think like that, it gives off the same energy as when people think guys and girls can't be friends because they've got to be intimate and relationshipy with each other. Oh my gosh, not everything is to appease sexual validations and feelings. If you find how they act cringe and you don't like it, just move on from their content. You don't have to claim they're freaking age players, you absolute degenerate. However, now we get on to talking point 2. Johnny sharing an image on Twitter that had a very, very, very bad logo in it. A certain logo attached to the famous dictator Hitler from World War II. Oh dear, this is genuinely bad. And this was clearly the moment that everybody had been waiting for to, pounce on Johnny and to declare their hatred loud and proud. Like this content creator who, when they found out on stream Johnny was getting cancelled, celebrated with joy.
I have good news.
You pissed.
I have just checked Twitter and Johnnie Guilbert is getting cancelled. The emo is gone. When that one influencer you never liked finally has a reason for you to hate him.
Pull it up. Pull it up.
Oh yes. Oh yes. About damn time. Tweeting a damn picture of a... That's on you, Johnny. That's on you, Johnny.
Whoa.
Downfall's imminent. Downfall's imminent. I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that.
Like, I straight up don't know who this person is, and I can't talk about them in totality as I'd never watch their content. But any time I ever see a content creator come online and just give this really hateful take on someone without any nuanced opinion, it really makes me uncomfortable, because I associate this stuff with, faceless accounts on Twitter. Like when people claim Johnny's into age play or whatever. But an actual content creator coming online who has a following, who has influence over people, being like, yeah, I've been praying for this person's downfall. Yeah, super weird. Like, what sort of juvenile take is this? I really hate when people are always like, I've always known that person was a terrible person. No, you haven't, you absolute, oh my gosh. Think critically for a second. Don't just keep shoveling the cycle of shit and negativity in the world. This is such an L take, and this is not me trying to demonize a content creator, because like I said, I don't know them. I'm sure they do lots of good content out there, and it's not just all just sheer brain rot, low-hanging fruit, I hate this type thing. But I think this kind of just encapsulates this weird hatred towards Johnny, where everybody's just waiting for him to do bad things so they can just be like, yeah, I knew he was bad. I totally always knew. He was that one content creator I could never get behind. And this mistake Johnny made just opened up the floodgates to this level of hatred. So basically, to fill you in on what happened, Carrington, his friend, asked for a YouTube banner or something, and Johnny quickly sent one, and in the image it had the certain far-right political party's logo. In genuine seriousness, yes, that's not good. It's offensive, as this logo has become representative of real hate in the world, anti-Semitism and horrible, inhumane, historical tragedies occurring. Okay, I'm not denying that whatsoever. So clearly, many were outraged, many were hurt. But the situation is not as simple as an on and off light switch. It's not Johnny is now this far-right, crazed man that's just trying to bring hate and doom to the world. Let's look at what actually happened. Obviously, he got a lot of heat and then he made some tweets. I saw Carrington's tweet, looked up a bad header on Google to reply with a poorly made header because I thought that'd be funny. Unfortunately, I didn't review the image before sending it and received a text from Carrington to let me know it had an inappropriate image on it. My apologies to everyone. Was not my intention to share an image like that. Just poor judgment on my part. And I'll be cautious of what I share in the future. I'm truly embarrassed and upset at myself for not thinking more beforehand. Yeah, this adds the nuance to the conversation. Basically, he was reckless, he was careless, terrible decision in that moment. Because when you do have a big platform, you do have a lot of eyes on you, you kind of do have to think critically about everything you do. Otherwise, things like this happen and you end up hurting people, in your community and in wider communities, because it's on the internet and everyone can see. I don't condone what Johnny did. However, all these people that are witch hunting him and have been preying on his downfall, this is not a conclusive piece of information to know he's a terrible person. And in my opinion, I really don't think he is. Do I think what he did was foolish? Yeah, well done. You've just shared a hate image to the world. Not funny. This is tragic. But do I think his explanation makes sense? Yeah. And to further add proof to this, at the time, if you literally Googled bad YouTube banner, that one came up. And in his defense, the logo is so small on the top of the head, it really does look like hair. I understand how people that actually haven't looked at the situation have just been like, yeah, what the fuck, Johnny? That's weird, shitty, edgy humor. That's not funny. It's just hurtful, as real people have been affected under that regime of that far-right political party. But if you actually look at it and you draw together the dots, you can really see very quickly it was a genuine, innocent mistake. And to add further context to this, Carrington, who is friend, who he sent the Picture 2 on Twitter, made a TikTok about it, defending Johnny.
Also, I'm Jewish. If I was offended, I would do something, okay? It was an oopsie. Who gives a And you know what? Y'all are so mean to Grace and Johnny. Let me say something about Grace and Johnny right now. They remind me of when you go to your friend's house and they have parents who are in like a happy relationship and you're like, oh, I wish my family was like this. You guys are so mean. You're being mean to the wrong people. You're being mean to the wrong people. Those two wouldn't hurt a fly. Those two are so nice, like annoyingly nice. And TikTok loves to talk about mental health. Y'all don't give a shit about someone's mental health if it's not yours. What happened is Johnny just saved an image and uploaded it to Twitter, like, whatever. He, like, who cares? It's not that big of a deal. And then he sees, oh, shit, there's a fucking on it, like that. And I texted him out. He was like, oh, shit, oh, shit, oh, shit. I was like, and then it was, like, solved. But it was like, he knew it was going to be an issue. He was like, oh, fuck. I was like, oh, fuck. I'm upset, too.
If the parties involved that actually know Johnny on a personal level are being like, this is a genuine silly mistake, I think that really does add a key piece of information. Because you've got to remember, I'm assuming you watching this, we do not know Johnny personally. So therefore, if the parties involved with him are actually being like, it's fine, he's not a bad person, that should be a good indicator. And another good key indicator would be if Johnny historically had far-right political agendas. If during the election he was like, yeah, I love Trump because he's going to make America great again and we're going to get rid of everybody that's not an American. Then you'd be like, okay, actually, maybe the signs were there all along. But from what I see from Johnny online, he seems to be a very inclusive human being. And what this was a huge, terrible lapse in judgment. That yes, just because he's come out and apologized, just because Carrington's come out and defended him, the other person involved, doesn't mitigate or doesn't take away from the fact that people will be hurt from a streamer they like, a content creator they like, sharing a hate image. That's gonna freaking suck, right? You're like, oh, that's not nice to see. It's like when someone you know and trust does or says something that hurts your feelings. Yeah, super fucked up. I don't like it. I don't condone it. But also, in life, human error occurs. So all these people coming online being like, he's a terrible person, he's the next coming of a horrible dictator. Oh, get real. No, he's not. You clearly are just witch hunting someone who you hate, and you're just trying to find any reason to hate on them. But the issue is just with how the internet works is people will just run with it now because no one will want to actually research how and why this actually did occur. A lapse in judgment, not critically thinking, not being engaged, and they'll just assume that Johnny is this terrible person now. And when he's not age playing with his girlfriend, he's this far right crazed man. It's like, and this is why cancel culture has just no validity anymore. Because people run with absolutes and don't think about context. Context is always key. Domain expansion. Context. Because if you just take these things as localized individual events, e.g. Grace calling Johnny daddy, you'd be like, oh, that's a bit creepy. I don't need to be seeing that on a stream when I'm just trying to watch two people entertain me. And if you saw Johnny send this image over to Carrington, which had a hate image in it, you'd be like, oh, what the hell is this guy doing? He's a bad person. But if you actually examine what is going on and the nuance and the context around these things, there are plausible, valid explanations, and that's what it is. It's not me condoning it and being like, yeah, keep sending those things to your friends, mate. I think the lesson's been learned. Be very mindful online. You're a huge content creator that's got an influence over millions. You have to really think about everything you put online. And I know that's a burden. I know that's tough. But also you get the benefit of being a full-time content creator and also never having to not be an early 2000s emo. So I think it's a pretty good deal there. So to conclude, if I haven't made this abundantly clear, in my opinion, do I think Johnny is this far alt-right political person who also is making very immoral adult-themed content for his young audience? No, just look and actually read around it and actually see what's actually going on, not just take what some random person on the internet says with zero critical thought to their message. Yeah, that's what I got to say about that. The witch hunt of Johnny is genuinely just weird. So let's talk about it in the comment section, shall we? Let's share our thoughts. And now, team, it is time. The time of the video where I show something from my collections. Yeah, today I'm showing you an Absol. Oh, the lighting in here is actually trash. Can you look at that? Can you see that? I hope it's in focus. Absol, I love Absol. I also got this from the Pokemania event. Go, Absol, go. I like that you're a dog with a sword on your head. That's crazy. That's so cool. I love that for you, Absol. Real cool. Keep it up, Absol. Anyway, my vocals are really, really, really fried and I'm in a lot of pain. So I'm gonna go now and play some Pokemon, have some cough medicine and sleep. Yeah, okay, bye. I've been your boy Cal. Skog will be back next episode, I promise. Bye.